It's officially Flipmas, and this year, I'm flipping my way to Christmas. Starting December 1st, I'll be dropping 12 furniture flip makeovers every other day, all the way through Christmas Eve. We're talking curbside finds, Facebook Marketplace rescues, and a whole lot of paint magic. And if we're good enough, hopefully Santa will come leave us some supplies under the tree for us to use throughout the process. Each flip has its own story. Some are total disasters, and some are dream pieces. But every single one is getting saved from the landfill and turning into something worth showing off under the tree. If you love a good before and after, satisfying sanding shots, and that fresh paint reveal, this series is for you. So grab your cocoa, turn up the Christmas playlist, and follow along for the 12 days of Furniture Flipmas, because this holiday season, we're making old furniture merry and bright again. Welcome to Flipmas. Let's get to work. Welcome to Flipmas Day 11. We're almost done with our series. That means it's almost Christmas. I had a lovely follower on Instagram reach out. She has had this piece in her family for decades, and it's time to refinish it for her beautiful daughter's new room. So she wants white on the bottom and some sort of stained top. She's not sure what the color is yet. So let's get to work and hopefully get this flipped so she can have a lovely new piece by the time Christmas comes. My number one recommendation when guiding people on custom transformations is to use what they already have as our refinishing piece. It's likely already fits has some sort of family story tied to it, and is of usually great quality. So when people say they already have a dresser but just want something new, I encourage them to reevaluate refinishing their existing piece instead of finding a different piece just to refinish. And no better place than passing down your own childhood dresser down to your own daughter. This dresser may look simple on the outside, but when I received it in person, I was blown away. It's extremely heavy and solid and was even built by the Amish. It was in such fantastic shape, but it just needs a little bit of a makeover to get it ready for her new chapter. And the start to a great transformation begins with removing the old drawer pulls and giving it a clean. The easiest way to make a big change is simply by adding different hardware. You can steer it more vintage, modern, cozy, whatever vibe you want, simply just by the knobs. They're the jewelry of your outfit that takes you from basic to baddie in that effortless way. If you've been watching my videos for a while now, then this scene might be deja vu for you. I feel like I do this every time when I need to strip the finish all the way to raw wood. I think it'll be really easy and just start with my sander because I don't want to make a mess with the stripper, but then 2 minutes in and I'm questioning why I thought refinishing furniture was even a good hobby, and then by 5 minutes in I've given up entirely and bring out the heavy hitter, which in my story is a gallon of acetone. I love acetone because it's very, very fast at removing product and dries so quickly that I'm able to use my sander again soon after. 2 coats is typical for me, and I try not to get it near the edges so it doesn't drip down the front drawers or anything weird. And this piece was so sturdy that I wasn't even sure the acetone was doing much here, but I trusted the process and kept working. Something I didn't understand when I first started using strippers is that it only takes off the product on top of the wood. It doesn't take away the color, which is why it looks like nothing even happened after all the acetone. Stain color soaks down into the wood, so after stripping the finish off, you gotta go back in and sand the colored wood away. And yes, it still takes a bit of time, but you don't need such an aggressive grit sandpaper because you're not needing to chew through hard sealant or product. When you're sanding down into the raw wood like this, you'll almost always get small sanding swirls, so you wanna be mindful of that. That's why we need to go back over it with higher grits to smooth it out and take out those defects. I mostly see swirl marks when using sandpaper that's less than 100 or 120-ish, so if you're using that low of grit, plan to go back over it with a higher grit. A great way to check for swirl marks is to mist it down with water, and those circles should stand right out to you. If you don't, then when you add your stain, the swirl marks will stand out and be really, really obvious. I've had to redo a few pieces because they snuck past me a few times. So moral of the story, you can't pass go and collect your $200 until you are certain that there are 0 swirl marks left on this work. I'm already loving how beautiful this natural wood color is. So let's protect it with our tape plastic sheet. We're going to be painting the rest of the body, so we need to keep the top super clean and protected while we spray those products. To finish prepping for paint and primer, let's give the body and drawers a quick scuff sand with 150 grit. This scuff sand helps give the primer more surface area to stick and grip into, so definitely don't skip this step. And for the drawers, let's make sure we get around all those edges so we have nice full coverage. Since these drawers are overset to the frame, I'm going to be pulling them out and alternate spraying product with them in and then out. There's a few hacks to know in spraying the frame with the drawers out. Firstly is that you should be covering the front of your drawer tracks, especially these where they have the little roller wheels. They won't roll the same if they're covered in paint. Dressers with bad sliding drawers are worth $0, and since I don't work for free, I never skip this step, and neither should you. Second hack is that you need to adjust the settings of your sprayer. See, when I'm doing the big flat side sections, I can open up the spray fan pattern and allow a lot of air and product to flow through. But that's just going to get all inside the front frame section, so we definitely need to adjust that. Close the fan spray nozzle so it's no longer a wide fan but a round circle. Then turn down your air and turn down your product, so you'll have a small nozzle of light flowing paint. This will give you great coverage over those skinny front frame and not flood the inside of the frame or the drawer tracks. Once the frame has dried, gently put your drawers in and give them a spray down. Be sure to angle your spray around the edges so you have full coverage. It's easy to find that the bottom edges of your bottom drawers don't get full coverage just because of how you're spraying. So get down there, spray up and all around the sides. Don't be shy now. Low-key annoying, but every time we alternate spraying with the drawers in and then out, we need to reapply the tape over the wheels. And like I said, I don't do this for free, and since dressers only sell the drawer slide, I put on my happy face and pull out the tape. Now onto our paint. You should be very familiar with this one as it's been on repeat the past few videos. It's not intentional, and I swear I try to alternate project styles, but this creamy, warm white is stealing the show, quite literally. And yes, I know on camera it can be a little hard to see it pop over the white primer, but it is a different color, I swear. She's soft and cozy, unlike the stark white primer. You saw her in Flipmas 9, where we refinished a mid-century modern dresser. You saw her again in Flipmas 10, where we refinished a repeat client's bookcase. And now you're seeing her again in Flipmas 11. This lucky lady's name is White Mocha, and it's by Behr Paint. This color is sentimental to me because it was the primary color that launched my business. But as the moody colors have set in, I see her less and less. Well, except for right now. I guess it's back? I don't know. Let me know if you prefer light colors or dark colors for furniture right now. It seems like my clients are split 50-50 at this point. And my last step for painting is pulling out my bestie, Miss Graco True Coat Sprayer. She eats through paint and has zero apologies. This sprayer is my all-time favorite because it gives flawless results every single time. What makes this sprayer unique and perfect in my eyes is that it's actually an airless sprayer. So no weird paint dust flying around, but it is pretty loud though. Pulling off the plastic and tape is one of my favorite steps. It's like a gift from past me to present me that says, here's a beautifully sanded down piece of wood that already has all the prep work done on it now, so you just get the fun part of adding the stain. My highest demanding stain color right now is Dark Walnut. In my last video though, I revealed my under the radar personal favorite stain, so go back to Flipmas 10 if you missed it. But mostly everyone else seems to love this Dark Walnut stain, and you know, I can see why. It's a tribute to cozy and slow living, reminds us maybe of simpler times. And with it being water-based product, I just need to mist down the surface and the staining sponge for the best application. We want our product to glide on, not stumble across the exposed wood. And with just one coat, my client fell in love. So I added a few layers of top coat to seal it in. My Amazon finally got delivered and our new poles are ready to install. These poles have been a game changer for me because they fit most older drawer hole placements, so no new holes need to be drilled or patched. A little reminder of where we started, a beautiful, well-loved piece that's been used for decades and plans to stick around for another few. And then where we ended. I love everything about this transformation. It's what we call a classic beauty. She doesn't need any flashy colors or trends to make her shine. Using our warm white mocha color is a fantastic base that will blend with the changing decor styles over the years, and the dark walnut gives a whisper of what she's really made out of, which is a solid wood gem, of course. It's a beautiful story of passing furniture down through the generations, and I wonder if the daughter will one day pass it down to her daughter. I wonder how she'll refinish it then. Now on to the numbers. I've been very consistent lately, sticking to the $650 price point for a painted piece with a stained top, and that's exactly what I charged my client for this one as well. I used about $15 in product and $30 in knobs. So about $600 total profit from this one. Thanks for watching. I hope you've been enjoying the Flipmas series, and I'll catch you soon for the grand finale of Flipmas.